The Argonath, one of the most majestic structures in Middle-earth, and without doubt a very iconic location that pretty much all Lord of the Rings fans can remember. But you might have been wondering, who built the Argonath, and who are the statues meant to be, and why was it even built in the first place? Hopefully I can help you give some answers to those questions today. So join me and let's explore the lore of Middle-earth together. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Lore of Arda. Today's topic is the beautiful statues known as the Argonath. I'll cover a lot of questions about these mighty statues in an order I felt made sense, so feel free to jump ahead to the sections you want to learn more about. Now let's begin. The Argonath is also known as the Gate of Kings and the Pillars of the Kings. And if you just know some basic history of Middle-earth, you probably already guessed that these beautiful statues were built by Gondor in her prime. The two statues stood upon either side of the river Anduin that flows between them towards Gondor. The statues represent Isildur and his brother Anarion, whom both are the founders of what would become Gondor. These heroes of old are the founders of Gondor, and both are very important characters in its history, despite Anarion's death during the Last Alliance. However, you might know that in the Fellowship of the Ring film, the statues are representing Elendil and Isildur. I've heard some people claim that the reason Anarion was changed was because the studio didn't have the rights over him. That may very well be the case, but I also think it makes more sense in the movie context, as we actually see Elendil, but never even hear about Anarion. There is one other difference that often gets overlooked. In the books, the statues are described to have both wielded axes, but in the movie, we see that the statue of Elendil actually holds the sword Narmacil in his right hand. Before I begin to talk about when the statues were built, I think we need to understand what happened before their construction, so we can also understand why they were made. So as you probably know, Gondor and the Easterlings had a rather poor relation to each other, and the Easterlings tried to invade Gondor on several occasions, but failed each time so far. All three of these invasions increased Gondor's power and land, but we will focus on the third invasion, as that is relevant to this topic. During the rule of Narmacil I of Gondor, the Easterlings began to attack Gondor again, and there were even some greedy Northmen that decided to join them. It's believed that these renewed attacks were stirred up by Sauron, that had begun to have a presence in the Mirkwood in the 2 centuries leading up to this war. We don't know exactly how long this conflict was going on, only that it happened during King Narmacil's rule. Narmacil wasn't really an active ruler and didn't seem to care much about being king. So in 1240, he made his nephew Minalcar regent of Gondor, and since that time Minalcar ruled Gondor. During his rule, the Northmen were given lands between the Anduin and Mirkwood to counter the Easterling invasions. Minalcar knew that he had to do something to stop the Easterling attacks and also to deal with the treacherous Northmen that sided with them. So in 1248, he set out with a mighty force to deal with them. From the north, an allied leader of the Northmen named Vidugavia joined Gondor's forces. Between Ravanian and the inland sea, they defeated a great Easterling force together and destroyed their camps and settlements east of the sea. Hereafter, Minalcar took the name Rómendacil II, which means East Victor. After this, the relation between Vidugavia and Minalcar grew, and a proper alliance between Gondor and Ravanian was made. As Minalcar returned to Gondor, he strengthened the defences along the western banks of Anduin, all the way north to the Limelight River. It was at this point he also built the Argonath. It's estimated that this happened in 1248 to 1250, but we don't know the exact year. So based on all that, I think there are several reasons why the Argonath was built. Not only would it remain a testimony of Minalcar's greatness as a ruler, but also a monument for future generations of Gondor, about its glory. I think a very important note here often gets overlooked: the location of the statues. One might ask, why didn't he just build these in central Gondor, where the majority of its people would see them? And I think the answer to that is that it was built mainly to show Gondor's power, not only to their Northmen allies, but also to the enemies of Gondor. Any Easterling daring to enter Gondor's territory would likely think twice before crossing the Anduin. For not only had Gondor defeated them in 3 major wars, they were also a mighty kingdom capable of building divine wonders as the statues known as the Argonath.